That little voice just guides you and tells you. And if you listen, the lessons and the perspective changes that you get are absolutely infinitely expansive. And when you start using or begin to see the world a different way, well, there's many ways to get that experience. Psychedelics is definitely a fast, 100% proven, interactive, let's go there now type of experience. But there's other ways to get there. Shamanic breathing, yoga, constant deep, chakra meditation, right? It depends where you want to go down the rabbit hole with this stuff. But there's many ways to get to that place. But what the point is basically having the boundaries so expanded or destroyed about what you believe is possible that you just have a radical shift in consciousness, a radical shift in who you are in this quantum soup of pure potentiality.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 366. Hope you're amazing, as always. I really do. We have an interesting episode today. Interesting. Sometimes we're going down the neuroscience, sometimes we're going down the NLP, sometimes we're going behavioral psychology, sometimes we're looking at business strategy, sales, NLP language patterns, sometimes we're looking at how to create and change behaviors. Sometimes we're looking at money. Sometimes we're looking at spirituality. Today, it's actually an older episode, but it's really cool. It's really cool. And I think you're going to love it. And it's all about reality. It's all about psychedelics. And it's actually got a few clips from people like Kanye West and Russell Brand and people like that. And it's cool. It's cool. You're going to love it. So whether you're into plant medicine or not, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's just about really expanding what you see as possible for your life, your business, your income stream, you know? And plant medicine has become a very popular thing over the past 5 or so years. And it's cool. It's cool, but it's far from the only way, as you discovered by that little clip I started with, you know? And I wanted to share that little clip with you because there's so many people out there that think one way is the only way. It's not, you know? If I was getting to the other side of America from LA to New York, there's many ways we can get there, right? There's many ways. We can fly, we can walk, we could ride a bike, we can unicycle, pogo stick, you know what I mean? There's so many different ways we can achieve our results, and this is just one of them. And the truth behind it all, it's an amazing tool, but it is just a tool. And what most people don't do is integrate the lessons. It's just like a real deep meditation, or when I take clients through deep hypnosis or trance work, or we go into the unconscious mind to unlock potential or solve problems or expand them into the next level of who they are, or really solve a business issue or a marketing issue, or getting creative, and you know, whatever it is. The people could be doing IPOs, mergers, whatever it is. It's that once you're in that world and you see what the powers of the unconscious mind, you unlock possibility. It's quite amazing, man, what changes. It's like people can have a perspective change and literally the whole life changes, their behaviors change, their actions change, what they believe about themselves and how they interact with their family, it all changes, and it can happen fast, man. So why I wanted to share this episode with you today is not about the psychedelics, right? It's really not. What it's about is you seeing your full potential. It's really interesting after 20 years of doing this game, building high performers, using NLP for influence, for peak performance, for sales teams, for just people getting them to kick ass, you know what I mean? Taking people from $1 million a year to 65 million a year, taking people, real estate agents from 200,000 to seven figures, taking coaches from, I don't know, whatever, you know, what was a recent one? Taking people from, they were doing like $8,000 a month and then took them up to like $50,000 a month. And whatever it is, we're just on a journey of growth. You know what I mean? And that was why I created Mindset by Design podcast. You know what I mean? I wanted to give people a network. I wanted to give people access to crazy, brilliant interviews and insights and amazing minds. And that's really why I created it, you know? And that was Mindset by Design. And the Unfair Advantage Academy, which is obviously by now, it's persuasion, it's influence, it's peak performance for online entrepreneurs, sales pros, coaches, real estate agents, network marketers, high ticket offers, whatever it is, right? That's what the Unfair Advantage Academy really is. And what I wanted to do was the same reason I started this podcast. I just wanted to help people. That was all it was. I had a great network, and so many people have taught me, and I've been in places in the world who were going through bankruptcy, nervous breakdown, putting together like a resort when I was younger, and I was the top salesperson in 2 different countries. And the challenge was, when everything went wrong, there was no one around me to show me the way that was right. Do you know what I mean? And we've all been there. And that was why I started the podcast. I wanted to give people access to a community. And that's the same thing with the Unfair Advantage. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is interviewing, like, we're talking badasses. We're talking like Inc. 500 CEOs and founders, NBC stars, you know, world champions. All of these people, not just like the podcast I do interviews. No, it's really it's to give you a look behind the scenes. Is to show you the struggles and the stresses, but really go into detail about how they think, feel, and act around every single area of their business, scaling their routines, everything that I don't share on the podcast, and I don't even know what they do. And that's the cool thing. So that's going to be on the Unfair Advantage Academy. It's going to be in there. So it's cool. One of the things I'm going to be putting out next week, actually, hopefully by the end of this week, is I'm going to be doing a masterclass series. They are the Jedi Tactical Training Series. It's going to be over 2 days. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to put a link in the show notes, and I'm going to put it everywhere so you can jump in. It's 2 days. It's nice and cheap, and it's like $197 right now. It's cool. You're gonna love it. But I'm not gonna go into much of that. So check the show notes, click the links, come and find me, Andy Murphy Mindset, all over social. Share this podcast, do all that stuff. So now we can jump on. Hit those show notes. So I'm gonna jump into today's episode, and it's really cool. Keep an open mind, be excited, and really internalize and look at your own life. Look at your own journey. Look at how these perspective changes can really help you today. Sound good? Awesome. So let's jump in, and I will see you at the end of the show. Enjoy. Oh, very quickly, crew, very quickly. Kanye is talking about politics. I just want to say, I have no interest in politics, no interest at all. I travel the world. I don't live in any specific country. Politics is a very separate subject, and that's what Kanye is into, not myself. And plus, I think at the time, this is going back a while, he was looking at running for president, wasn't he? So that was on his mind. But anyway, back to the show.
Is it possible that Kanye West's unusual proclamations are evidence of him becoming enlightened? Here is some true news.
Everyone around me tried to pick my candidate for me. and then told me every time I said I like Trump that I couldn't say it out loud. Even when I said it right before I went to the hospital. When I came out, I had lost my confidence. So I didn't have the confidence to take on the world and the possible backlash.
What's going on, crew? So what I'm going to do with this is that we're going to play Kanye's little bit, and then I'm going to play Russell Brand's comment of that, and then I'm going to give my 2 cents on the top. Maybe I need this section, my 2 cents, you know? The sound quality is not the best with Russell Brand because he was actually outside when he did it, but you get what Russell Brand. If you don't know Russell Brand, do some researching about Russell Brand, right? He's got such a creative, crazy mind, amazing mind, but loves to tell lots of big words, doesn't he? He loves it. He loves it. So, so you're gonna be listening to lots of big Russell Brand words, which is pretty cool too.
This in particular that I found very attractive, that he speaks so openly at having lost his confidence, and he's speaking openly about mental health. This is a very powerful person, one of the most famous people in the world, I suppose you would argue, speaking honestly about mental health issues, speaking honestly about feeling like he's lost his confidence. This is, I think, an important and interesting interview, and we shouldn't be distracted by does he like Donald Trump or not.
Both interesting clips, aren't they? I love them both. It's very, very interesting. And it's funny that Russell brought up at the end, make sure that you don't judge him on his opinion of, Donald Trump. But it's funny, the first time I heard that, I didn't even hear Donald Trump's name. You know, my mind was focused on, isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that Kanye is started to see the world differently? Maybe he's bought everything. Maybe he's bought everything and he's realizing that accumulation gets to a point of saturation, right? It gets to that point of where you don't, the pleasureometer isn't blasting off like it would be, right? And I've seen this with a lot of different type of clients, and you hit that saturation point where you have to go inside. And that's what all of this episode is really about, getting to that unwoken. But what does that mean? And is it a case of that now Kanye has got to that point, which really is very interesting if he has, and he's starting to get those realizations. Is that going to affect? Is that going to affect Kim? Is it going to affect the Kardashians? Dun, dun, dun. Hey, this will be a good show, right? Maybe I'll do a gossip show. But what I did love about both of them, what they said, was about confidence. I mean, isn't it amazing to really stop and think about, without judgment, but really truly think about what that really is, to understand that someone who is so famous, someone who performs constantly, who brings out brilliant things, whatever your belief is, I don't know, he's done a lot of incredible things in his music career for sure, right? And you got to respect that. So isn't it amazing to really know that it doesn't matter what level of success or perceived success that somebody gets to externally, that inside we're all so similar, and inside you can get damaged. You can get the same fear response in the brain as everybody else. And it doesn't matter how good you are at your craft, we're still dealing with today. We're still dealing with what's going on in our life. Makes sense? And that's why I talk about, like, with my coaching and everything else, about scaling your thinking. Because from moving like your 5 figures to 6 figures, 7 to 8 plus 9, whatever it is, there's a certain level of view of the world, yourself, business, money, success, discipline, beliefs, attitudes that comes along to receive that outside world. Makes sense? So what Kanye's beliefs were around money and business were all of those things. So that's why he was able to attain that level of success, because that's how he saw the world. But he's obviously got to that point where, again, once you hit a goal and you're constantly in the pattern of not being able to be present, not being able to be in flow, not being able to be in alignment with what you truly, truly want. So then it is a constant flow state to be able to achieve something beautiful in the world, right? Or your dream or whatever that is, not just in the, I hate to use the word, the grind, right? Of moving forwards. Like, I've got to do this because it'd be beautiful because I get to do this. Does that make sense? And we'll go back to the Matrix, which is what the title of this video is on YouTube. It's really go back to that programming, right? Go back to that unconscious programming. Isn't it bizarre that it is even a concept, or like it's we care about that somebody who's famous is talking about the health of his brain or his thinking, and that's such a revolutionary thing. It's like, well, of course we all get sad, happy, stressed, angry, all of these things. Of course we get confidence issues. Of course we have this roller coaster because we have a certain type of brain. It's 2 million outdated-year-old genetics, right? It's a certain central nervous system. It's also, we're a spirit having a human experience for a bit, right? And because we're having that, it means that we're all very, very similar. But isn't it amazes me that even this makes press. But that's how structured the world's or society or Western society is. That is a shocking thing, that somebody who has everything externally actually has confidence issues and has stress and anxiety. Amazing, right? It's like they've all been painted as such a certain perfect version of what a human can be in. There's snapshots that, we have to live up to that expectation, but really, well, it's like looking behind the mirror. Oh shit, they're not perfect. All our marketing is destroyed. Do you understand? Yeah, I'm going on a bit of a rant too. I'll keep jumping to the second bit.
We get too caught up in the past and what everyone's saying and what everyone's tweeting. And sometimes you just have to be fearless enough to break the simulation.
This particular passage is an example of people's perspective shifting that we're seeing a lot of. Almost like people awakening within the pods in the Matrix. Kanye is beginning to look at reality in a different way.
Let's start with acting, first of all. And a 2-year-old screams at a restaurant, the entire restaurant screams, teach that kid how to act. We're all unpaid actors in some giant script that we didn't write.
He's talking about social constructions. Of course, no one likes it when a 2-year-old screams in a restaurant. As the father of a 2-year-old, it really gets on my bloody nerves. Restaurants, in the house, everywhere, actually. But the imposition of social expectations on children and the way that we can form through social protocols, for me, this is a fascinating subject. It's like he's knocking on the lens or the parameters of reality. Like, in the Truman Show, when Jim Carrey starts to notice that lights are dropping on the floor and stuff, Kanye West is questioning the constructs that are around him. Like, why should I behave in this way? Why is it not possible for me to like Donald Trump? How is reality constructed? And who benefits from the manner in which reality is constructed?
Pretty cool, hey? Pretty cool. So I love that, and I love what it's the analogies that they use, the Matrix, because what really is happening inside of our lives is what we really got to get used to is the concept. Whether we're plugged in and we're living in like literally, that's a theory out there, and I'm sure some people are nodding along, is that we literally living in a simulation, straight like the Matrix, right? And the crazy thing is, we wouldn't really know if we were, would we? Because if it was perfectly real, we wouldn't know. But hey, maybe we are, right? Maybe we are. But what I'm talking about right now is the model, your own model of the world. You live in a holographic universe. What the heck does that mean? Well, for you, you live in a holographic self, because what is internally programmed is literally you are seeing that version of what the program is from the inside out. So what you're seeing on the outside is literally what you can notice and what you're not noticing. That's why you can, like, the classic one is with guys, right? It's like, I don't know about you gentlemen, maybe I'm going to throw you under the bus, but it's like with keys, right? I've taught myself over the years to put keys into one place no matter where I am or what house I go in. The first time I put keys down, that's where they go and that's where they stay. So I always remember my keys, but there's other things I don't, right? And so, and I'm sure some of you can relate to this, but what it means is that I won't see an object that I know's there. I know somewhere in the house and I'll be looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, but I'm not seeing that object because, hey, for whatever reason, right? They call it man eyes, but man eyes is connected to your filter system in your brain. And it's just, it's not filtering those whatever it is that was sitting there all the time, all along. And as soon as you see it, there it is, right? So understand that those habits or view of the world has been adopted since you were born, basically before you were born. And if you want to start talking about epigenetics, even way before you were born, in DNA expression or gene expression. And when you start to understand this, you start to understand that society or like a country has a certain culture or view of the world, right? Certain beliefs, certain expectations, certain focuses, certain cultures, certain ethics, certain way we do things, right? And that creates the dynamics of a country. But if you look at that as a model of the world, or just like yours, a version of the world, none of that is the world, right? It's not. It's just versions of the world, because not one of us has the same version. It's like a fingerprint or a snowflake. Why? Because we all make different decisions about life along the way. And so we never see the world the same way. So if you understand the people that have tried to program that version of you or how things are done is a business called society. Society is a business. And that business shouldn't be a business, but it is a business. And that business model is designed to keep the cog moving. And the cog is society, the car industries and the tech industries and industrial industries and the construction industries and all of these oil industries and all of these industries. Society's old job was to keep these pumping, so it brings money in, right? Whatever you believe about where it goes or who does it and all the rest of it, that's conversation for another time for sure. But when you start to understand this, what Kanye is talking about is that model of the world, which is called Hollywood. That is a marketing machine. That machine is a business, and the business is called Hollywood. It has lots of different departments in it and lots of spider webs in it, but that's what it is. So what he's talking about is shattering his reality, basically breaking past the box that he's put around as what is possible or his identity in it. And when you start to understand and break this model and understand that you have complete free will in the way you think, the decisions, the direction of your life, the direction of who you are becoming, the direction of every single aspect of your life, you can completely direct it, right? Through the way you look, through your haircut, through the way you react to people, having certain beliefs about certain people or places, or how you experience the past, how you're thinking about the future. All of this becomes your choice. And that includes the direction of where you're going to end up when you're 85 years old or 150 years old. The stem cells that you put in your body, the health and the food that you eat, all has a direct effect on everything, how you feel inside, how the world interacts with you outside. And when you start to understand that is completely malleable, it's changeable at the moment, the drop of a hat, a decision. It's called neuroplasticity in neuroscience. So when you start to begin to understand that now, isn't it beautiful that they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? But it's not true. And it's so not true that the paradigm has to shift in your head. And if it hasn't already, imagine it beginning to shift now, and understand that when you understand there is a different way to live life, that's freedom, right? You know what else that's called? Being awoken, right? That's being woke. Do you understand what I mean? Good. And that's what they're talking about on this clip.
Simulation. A 2-year-old jumps on a coffee table and someone says, "That's a coffee table. Don't jump on that." So it went from being something that makes him feel like Superman. He's got his cape on. He's 2 years old. He doesn't give a about a coffee or a table. And he's starting to like calculate all these things. And by the time you're 40 years old, you've got a wall full of coffee tables calculating you into traffic, calculating you into your career choice.
These are the kind of observations that people sometimes make on hallucinogenics, that reality is not the way that we perceive it as being. He's questioning the nature of reality. And next time you're sat on a bus or on public transport or in a traffic jam, think about what your expectations of your own life are, of your own reality. Next time you ask a child to conform, which I'll probably do by the end of today, I'll probably tell my 2-year-old to get off a coffee table, to stop bashing her sister on the head. That in particular is a good rule, I think. But it is important that we question the nature of reality and how we regulate ourselves, the policeman in our own head.
Because at that point, if I'm afraid to be me, I'm no longer Ye. That's what makes Ye.
Really easy to be cynical and skeptical about Kanye West, but I think what he's having is a kind of transcendent shamanic experience. Often mental illness can be a precursor to a different kind of perspective, talking from my own particular perspective, particularly if you've been in a position of privilege and none of those things seem to work for you in particular. You start to question, well, what is it then, this game that I'm playing? Why is it that I was so willing to ascribe to this belief system? And, no one's higher up than him. Look at his eyes. He's awakening.
Now, Russell took it down a different path, which I like, and we can go deep down. He's talking about when you've had a psychedelic experience. And when you have had a psychedelic experience, you're going to know that you wake up and the world seems different. You saw such deep, different perspectives about life. That little voice just guides you and tells you. And if you listen, the lessons and the perspective changes that you get are absolutely infinitely expansive. And when you start using or begin to see the world a different way, well, there's many ways to get that experience. Psychedelics is definitely a fast, 100% proven, interactive, let's go there now type of experience. But there's other ways to get there. Shamanic breathing, yoga, constant deep, chakra meditation, right? It depends on where you want to go down the rabbit hole with this stuff. But there's many ways to get to that place. But what the point is basically having the boundaries so expanded or destroyed about what you believe is possible that you just have a radical shift in consciousness, a radical shift in who you are in this quantum soup of pure potentiality. And when you start to really get that, damn, your mind is blown. Not everybody here is designed to be a billionaire. We're not all supposed to be Jeff Bezos, right? Not everybody here is supposed to be even a multimillionaire or world champion athletes. We're all on such a unique ride of life that we have to really live in this metaphysical as well as the logical, as well as all the science. We've also got to live in this metaphysical way of seeing the world, because in this metaphysical way of seeing the world, anything is truly possible. And if you live in that space, that place of wonder and imagination, how much fun, right? That's it. If you're playing there and then you're able to bring those ideas back and put them into this 3 dimension, that's magic, right? That's straight magic. That's what thought leaders and Elon Musk, someone's going to tease me about saying Elon Musk for sure, but Elon Musk, all of these different people, right?
I think I understand what you're saying, but I might not. But also, you know, maybe people don't want the kid to get hurt jumping on the coffee table.
That is a sort of a reasonable argument that Jimmy Kimmel makes there, of course, but the pragmatic worldview, the materialistic worldview, the lack of mythos and symbol in our social discourse plays into the hands of the powerful, plays into the hands of conservatism, plays into the hands of existing structures. Don't ask questions. Don't engage with your childlike wonder. Don't peel back the veneer of reality and see what's behind the carapace. Kanye West, I think, is interesting. I love Jimmy Kimmel as well. I've been on that show a few times. I think he's a really, really lovely bloke. I'm not seeing him as a sort of the spokesman of the man, as it were. But this is an interesting moment for Kanye West, in my opinion.
And his opinion is pretty cool. But what he's talking about is being able to see a different way, being able to see outside the program, being able to see all the programs, being able to see that you have been living inside someone else's program. And that really is what's happening. And that's being awoke, right? That's being the red pillars, the blue pill, whatever it is in the matrix, right? That's what he's talking about. And I know most of you on here, if you're listening to this, then you're going to be well on your way, or this is going to wake you up, or you're well awake. And either way, I just want you to start really thinking like this for every single area of your life, including your business for sure, right? If you're stuck on a project right now, or maybe it's lead generation, maybe it's taking this business to a whole new level of expansion, but you're just not knowing how. I want you to understand that the unconscious mind works basically one way. It wants to complete the program. The neurology wants to complete the software, the neural net, the circuit, the neighborhood. It just wants to complete. And because it just wants to complete, what that means is then we've got to learn to create possibilities, create options. By creating those possibilities and options, what we're doing is opening the boundary, adjusting the filter in our brain, but allowing ourselves to basically go associated or step into and have a look around some different options. This expands the boundary, but what will happen is you'll start being able to feel which is the right option for you. Remember what I said, right? Not every decision is a logical decision. It becomes an intuitive decision. I was listening to someone the other day, and a friend, and he was talking about Richard Branson, talking about his hiring process. And I think he's got like a 90% or something success rate in his hiring, and it's purely intuitive. Think about that, right? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's the best way. I'm not saying it's the right way, the wrong way, or he's one of a very few people who can do that. And I'm sure he is. That's why he's Branson, right? But the point is, that's where we need you. Because there it becomes an easy decision to make if it's the right path or not. So if we pull out options, we create possibilities, the brain will choose, or the unconscious mind, or whatever you want, your nervous system, the universe, whatever the heck you want to call it, your guidance system, your intuition will choose the one that feels right, okay? And when you can start moving down that path, it's amazing. Because then you can recreate yourself wherever you want. If you get stuck in any place in business, you're able to make easy decisions, go in a different way. And when we live in this infinite possibility, when we live in always driving forwards, but having a complete flow and flexibility of decisions, because whatever the decisions are, we have to be flexible as long as we're heading towards the goal or the vision or where the destination. So it doesn't really matter how we get there, does it? We're just going to get there. And the people that you are going to meet that you haven't met yet, that are going to open doors for you, well, you haven't met them yet, right? So how are you going to get there with the information that you've got right now? You can't. So you have to start building this through people, places, and things, and objects, and events, and circumstances that just start appearing around you like magic. Maybe that we are living in the Matrix. I don't know. But what I do know, if we live like this, if we live intuitive, if we live in purpose, if we live using all of the techniques and tools I tried to my best to teach you, what I do know is that things just appear in front of us, like synchronicity. And I don't know if that is the computer game or that's whatever that is. Maybe we are truly living in the Matrix. And if we are, pretty cool. It means we can design our own program. So, crew, there we go. The end of episode 366. Did we go down the old rabbit hole enough for you today? I think you did. And speaking of rabbit holes, hey, it's only just the beginning, right? It's only just the beginning. It's only just the beginning of your journey, hitting that next level. And if you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur online, if you are doing anything, a sales pro, you're a coach, you're doing anything, then let's connect, First of all, make sure you connect with me somewhere. Andy Murphy Mindset. Social media, find me. The other thing is, hit the show notes up and let's see what the latest links are. They're always changing. And we've got new websites coming up. We've got constant content coming out everywhere, right? Everywhere. So make sure you connect with me, and also make sure that you are ready for Massive Money, the two-day tactical training class. It's going to be epic. It really is. We're going to be doing it at the end of this month. Also, look out for the Unfair Advantage Academy. That thing is absolutely legendary special, and I'm so pumped to bring it out to you. My whole goal is to take you all the way that you need to go to get freedom, or whatever it is you want. I'm going to share with you 20 years of tactics, strategies, and techniques that have taken people from $1 million a year to $65 million a year, from coaches from 8K a month to 50K a month, to real estate people from selling 2 a year to 20 a year. I want to show you all these tactics that I've taught to world champions, legendary people, digital celebrities, everybody you can imagine, right? Including royalty. And I want to share them with you in one place. That's the academy, okay? That's the Unfair Advantage Academy. But the other thing, well, guess what? This is the Jedi Tactical Training Series. So this is going to be ongoing, one a month, all different topics, and they're nice and cheap that you can jump in and get started today. So keep checking those links. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. And keep kicking ass. Keep kicking ass. I'm here to help. So until the next time, much, much love. You have an amazing, badass week. Check out the clip show this week. And oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.